Nein, lieber nicht. Are there any groups that want to present their results? We have one group which made a board game, so please feel free to come over here and play the game. Is there any other game that want to present their game on the beamer? Yes, okay, feel free. Ja, ja, ja. Ja, ja, haben schon Mittagessen. Wollt ihr zuerst? Warte, ich glaube, Sie waren zuerst. Wollt ihr zuerst, oder? Okay, okay, dann macht ihr zuerst.
Hallo. Weiter wie? Da wäre ich fast nervös.
Willst du präsentieren?
Kannst du ruhig gern.
Er ist der Gamer.
Ich will gamen.
Ja, dann spielst du und sagst du, ich spiele ja und ich rede.
Easy.
Ach ja. Ich muss aber sehen, was am Bildschirm ist, warte.
Oh nein, wir werden gesniped. It's happening.
Ah ja, das ist ein Feature der Flashbang.
Ja, offensichtlich. Also, wir haben ein Spiel gemacht, es heißt Bubble Odyssey, also English. We made a game, it's called Bubble Odyssey. It's like Super Mario Odyssey, it's in 3D jump and run. That's our Bubble main character. He's not transparent, we couldn't fix that. And the objective is to collect 4 coins, or 5? 4 coins, and reach the end, which is marked with a big giant bubble character in the distance. You have 3 modes between which you can switch. We mark them only in the console. When you press shift, you switch between a dash, a floating, and a bounce mode. And in each mode you have one special ability. In the bounce mode you summon a bubble which catapults you in the air. In the floating you can float. And the dash mode lets you dash in front like a little sprint. And yeah, that's everything. Oh, and the sounds were made by Matthias. Did you make them with... Okay, he made them with his mouth. And we also have a self-made, an original soundtrack in the background. That's the winning screen. Thank you.
Test.
Okay. So we built Finley's Aquatic Adventure. It's an adventure exploration game. You play an axolotl. You got thrown off your cliff, off a cliff where you lived at the top, and now you need to make friends with the people, with the other animals living down here, and they'll give you some special abilities according to that'll help you make your way back up ideally. I'm sure there's a lot more to say. We don't have sound right now, but we have sound, but we have technical difficulties.
Still no sound.
I cannot sing the soundtrack. I'm sorry. Yeah, our main gameplay loop is you have your oxygen meter over here, and you're stuck in your little bubble at the beginning, but you can venture out while your oxygen meter slowly depletes, and you have to find things that will help you go further in future attempts. Because either you'll drown if you stay out too long, or you can find some other bubbles that also refill your oxygen. And yeah, you can make friends with some worms.
This is Felix. He's our artist. This is his first time playing our game, so this is a blind playthrough right now. He has no idea where to go. Well, we said he should just try and see if he can find the other NPCs. If he'll drown or whatever, then maybe we take over, but this is as real of an experience as it gets. Yeah, I think the sound should work with a lovely Creative Commons soundtrack that we found online. Yeah, it's some sound driver issue apparently, I don't know. You can gladly play the game later if you want to try it out. Feedback is always appreciated. Okay, maybe Leo? What's flipped? Oh, what the hell? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Requesting now. This is our pistol shrimp, Johnny. And he has a quest for us. So I'm not gonna read all that because it's a lot.
Yeah, the NPCs talk a little too much.
Yeah. So Johnny is I don't know how do you say.
It's a very interesting personality, this one. He has a very high opinion of himself and is a hero to some. Some don't even know his name, but yeah. And yeah, each one of the NPCs you find along the way has a little quest for you, and if you complete it, you get a special ability from them, which helps you to then reach the end goal, which is to go back up and swim to your family to be reunited. Very wholesome story.
The goal is to go up. The goal is to go up to find your family, basically, and yeah, with more abilities, you can reach farther away. Yeah, and I did the art, all the 3D assets. So I've mainly used 2 VR applications. The first one is a Quill, where I sketched the stuff out and did also some use it for the assets. And the environment is made in Medium by Adobe, and yeah, and it's a sculpting software which is voxel based, so you don't have to worry about if you have 2 parts of the mesh colliding, then they combine. Yeah, so it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah. What else? So we have 3 characters, quest characters. Anything else? Any questions? No.
More regarding the art. Felix sculpted them in VR, and then I rigged them in Blender and animated them. We used secondary procedural animations in Unity. So the animations themselves don't look that good in Blender because I'm not really an animator. but we have like secondary animations that are driven by physics and the movement, like the little wiggle of the tail, depending on which directions the rigid body is going, the velocity it responds, which makes it look a lot more alive than it would otherwise with just animations from Blender. Also, you can see that I think there's always these particles going around which kind of indicate what direction you're swimming in. It's also a really small and simple touch that we added, I think adds a lot, conveys the feeling of being underwater. The same with the fog, the distance fog that's everywhere, that's blue, I think also helps with the feeling of being underwater. The water shader at the very top is straight up stolen from Wind Waker. I looked up a blog post how they did it. Because back then on the GameCube they didn't have that much performance to play with. It ran entirely on the CPU, and they didn't have any procedural noise functions, so they just layered several sine waves on top of each other, compound sine waves, and that's how they deformed their mesh. And it just did the same thing.
I'm about to finally finish the quest. I took so long to find all the cans, even though I placed them. Wait, he's still not happy? Okay. I think our quest system might be broken. I don't know why. And that's my fault, because I did the quest system and all the dialogues. Okay. I'll try to find some more cans, and I'll get back to that in a second.
In general, the game is in a bit of a rough spot right now. We have some bugs to iron out. For example, the game just straight up doesn't work in a build right now. If you want to talk to an NPC, it doesn't work. But we decided to like focus on that later, after today, maybe later this evening, because otherwise we would just rip out our hair. So we'll see.
Maybe we can get to see the minigame now that I found like 5 cans. Maybe he'll be happy now.
There's actually quite a lot of content. The different NPCs with the unique quests, and there's actually an ending sequence as well. I don't think we'll have enough time to show right now, because we also want to give the others the opportunity to show their game. But yeah, I think we'll stick around for a little bit afterwards. Anyone who wants to play the game and try it out themselves, feel free to reach out, to come to our table. Yeah. That's our game. Hope you liked it.
Wieso funktioniert die Johnny Quest nicht?
You have to push it and that's right.
Yep. Okay. What's our team name? Okay. Hello. So we are team AAA, Alina, Anna, Albert, and our game is called SCP-9786. This is a reference to the SCP Foundation. It's a fan fiction wiki on various anomalies, monsters, and other supernatural stuff. So our concept here was we took the bubble concept and we decided this is an anomaly. So in the very near future, all of a sudden, a lot of these bubbles spawned or appeared all over the globe in certain places, and nobody really knows why. The bubbles don't really do anything, they just sit there, they don't emit anything, and yeah, scientists are at a loss what is actually going on there. The only thing that they do know, or what was tried out, is once you go into them, it can be dangerous because people vanish. So therefore, we have these contamination zones, and you're a scientist who is tasked to once again research more and find out more about one of these bubbles, and come up with new insights. So for that, what we did is we have a 2D top-down, let's call it small exploration game. You have the option to interact with certain people and things on this map. And depending on what you choose, you might actually find out things about this anomaly or not. So with some things you will waste your time. Some things might be even bad for you, for your outcome, and some things might help you. What we do give you to make things a bit, or give you some clues, is a journal. A journal that contains certain backstories and current research that is available on the bubble. Whereas some things there will be helpful, but other things are just hogwash and are not needed. And again, it might be bad for you. This plays into one of the diversifiers that we picked, the Control-Alt-Disinform diversifier, with the idea that you have to critically read the things there and make your own educated guesses then what you can do and what will help you. So Alina is just showing the gameplay now. There are certain things you can interact with, and in the middle you have the title bubble, let's say. And with each thing you can interact, you have one or more options there. There is also one cat that walks around, but sometimes it walks out of bounds. So that's one of the things that we didn't manage to iron out until the end, but the rest should be in a very solid state, I think. The game itself we created with the Phaser engine. So this is all in HTML and coded with TypeScript. We deployed this also, so you can then basically find this game under the link that we're also using here and play it for yourself and see if you can get the one successful ending. In total, there are 3 endings, 2 failures and 1 success ending. Yes, sure, of course, you can do that. Obviously, this gives you minus points. In the background, we are using a bit of a point system to keep track if you're doing meaningful things or not so meaningful things. And if you do too much not so meaningful things, you will lose. And there's a bit of a randomization factor in there, in the sense that you don't really know how much attempts in interactions you have. And you don't really know if an interaction is very bad for you or just slightly bad, or if it's neutral. So, yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. So our game is called Bubble Time, and we made a local co-op bubble racing game. So probably Alex is red and Michi is blue. Is that right? Yes. So Michi, Alex, and their goal is there's a finish line at the top, and you have to bring the bubble up there. You control the fish, and you can blow the bubble forward. There's a checkpoints. We have a few levels. We originally wanted to make randomly generated levels, but and we also wanted to do power-ups and a whole bunch of other stuff. But we limited the scope to this finally, and so we have, I think, 5 pre-made levels that you can play between. It's best of 5. Yeah. We don't have too much content, but the stuff we have works fairly well. We have it for WebGL also. Right now they're playing it for the Windows edition, but we have also it on itch, where you can play it in web. It is also possible that one player plays with keyboard and the other person with controller, though that has some finicky stuff attached to it. Yeah, so now they just restarted to have a different level this time. But that actually resets the scores. Now you have to play another 3 rounds, minimum. Yes, and obviously if the bubble touches something, it pops and respawns at the last checkpoint. And you can see that you have like this little bar next to the fish. That's how much blow force or charge you still have, I guess. And if you completely drain it, then you get a penalty of a half a second, I think. Yeah, and me and Michi, we did the programming part, and Alex did all of our 3D assets. And the sounds we just got from various free sound places. Yep, that's it. Yes, and Alex made this nice animation for the menu.
Hey. Yeah, so hi guys. We made the game Bursting Panopticon, which is a 2D strategy game. So at least it should be. Yeah, we have like 4 different kind of bubbles you can see here. And we thought about, okay, there are 4 bubbles existing. Basically, there are air bubbles, cavitation bubbles, oil bubbles, and gas bubbles.
Have you all ever wondered what it would be like to be a Caesar, but not a Caesar to people, but to bubbles? You see, you lead a society in which composes of bubbles. So, how will you lead your bubbles, your fellow bubble beings, to great success when a great crisis looms above all of you?
And so therefore we check the first checkpoint, and you can see there is the dawn of a new reign. So the Caesar bubble is actually here and now awakes. And yeah, we have here on the left side the government stockpile, which should represent the resources each bubble can have and can use. And in this case, we have like a decision system and info events which are popping up, and you can see on down there this decision or this info in this case affects the oil in this case or the reputation on the right side. And we want to make it that in the end of the game, depending on the reputation, you have a heroic win or a solid win, or maybe you the game is game over when none of the bubbles can live anymore. So maybe like they are somehow bursting, and this is kind of the thing. We have a day progression system, so that the game has 5 days, and after a specific amount of time, another event shows up, and you need to choose, okay, what you're gonna do, maybe like to offer some resources, or you maybe gain some reputation. Wanna also
Okay, so basically, for all the clans, you have to make sure you share the resources in a way that you're not being partial, and also keep your reputations high, because if eventually your reputation goes low, there might be a conspiracy, and if you're not able to pull through, game over. So basically, you have to make good decisions, you have to make smart decisions, and you have to not be partial. So this is the stockpiles, which consists of everything you have in the bubble world. And eventually, you're gonna find out that all of this is happening inside a pan. So it's like a frying pan, and the oils and the catastrophes that first of all happens that leads to the other catastrophes are the first catastrophe, which is the asteroid, is actually an egg, but it drops down and it opens the doors to more catastrophes, which, for instance, there's like water scarcity, there's like oil scarcity, and it's basically the fight for survival. And basically resources are being shared, and these are the reputations, and we hope you like our game. Thank you.
Where everybody dies.
Oh, fight for survival. Some people die, some people leave. It's just part of life. But some people leave, actually, and eventually it's just frying pan, eggs, and salmon, maybe. Yeah.
You look at these bubbles, they're dying. We didn't give them the resources they needed, so now they're dead. You can also choose whether or not they live or die. So, essentially the game is divided into 2 parts. You have the preparation period and the crisis period. And we didn't exactly have enough time to implement the polish that we hoped for, but most of it is there. If you'd like to try it out, the URL is right here. That's not it. Oh, this is the mirror board of our game. It's massive. This is like our event system. This is what every single event consists of. It's fucked up. Here is the website.
Yeah, and after the 5th day, then there is the finish at the end of the day, and that's basically it. We wanted to implement more finishes, so more endings that it maybe had a good ending or a bad ending, but we couldn't fix that in time. But yeah, it still gets to an ending, and that's basically it. Thanks.
Hi. So after we made some VR games the last years, we decided to do a board game this year, and Hannes will start to explain it to you.
Okay, we have inspiration of many different games actually. So we did a little bit of brainstorming and thought about, okay, which games do we like? What do we like in these games and what not? So like maybe a funny inspiration of that game, the base inspiration, maybe you know the game Tempo, I don't know if it has an English name, Tempo kleine Schnecke. It's like a kid game where you just have a dice and a color and the snails just drive across the board. And then we thought, okay, how could we maybe improve this? And then we came up with the idea, maybe just make a stock simulation out of that little kids game. And so we started by making, we have here different stocks, so like energy, finance, health, automobile, and tech. And we start by throwing the dices, and then we have a random starting order. And also we thought, okay, we want to move them somehow naturally, but it's a little bit hard to simulate with just dices when you don't have a PC. And so we came up with the solution that they all have a certain amount of velocity, I call it. So it's basically how the course is going. So as you see, we try to print most of the things. We still need 4 more of these velocity sliders, but the rest of them, they are just placeholder. Sadly, the print failed in the last minute. So basically what you can see, like this is the tech stock, and it says it does have a velocity of 3. So actually, okay, we know, and it's also currently on a worth of 4. So we know if nothing happens, that stock will go 3 forward and will be worth 7. And so in the beginning, we can decide, okay, what will we buy? In that case, it's... Yes, I just explained the basic game. We can go through the whole round if you want. So we can just buy shares of the tech company. Actually, that's energy. Tech is that, but okay. Yes. Because we see here, it's currently one of the cheaper ones, but also does have a velocity of 3. So most people will buy the blue one, but also does have a risk, because like in real life, when you just put everything on one stock, you will lose a lot when that one crashes. So that's basically the bubble idea behind. So basically that's all bubbles, and when we reach the end, the bubble pops, and then the stock will crash. And we also implemented a little bit other ideas. Maybe you know the game Exploding Kittens. So we thought, okay, just the stock moving around is maybe a little bit boring, and we wanted it to be predictable. So we thought about, okay, let's make action cards. Sadly, they're currently just only here in German, but they're basically just like, okay, a player loses that and maybe influence the stock somehow. So basically with these cards you have a little bit of insider knowledge, how you can manipulate the market itself to your benefit. Or maybe just put the stone in the way of the leading guy. That's also very working. And also we have the stock market is currently really predictable because in the end we just throw the dice. Maybe I do it now for the attack for the roboter, and so okay, it's -1. So he still moves forward, and therefore it's always predictable because we can't move completely from one side to the other. But we also wanted that. So let's maybe simulate a round. On the start, we turn over an event card that basically says what will happen in that round. And basically, we have here.
So the event says that the event says that the top stock will probably fall to the same value than the third stock, so this one. And the likeliness is that if we roll the dice and we have a 2 or a 3, then the event will happen. So a probability of 1/3. And
so we do that before the buy and sell phase, so people know now, okay, this stock might be crash. There are also positive events, so we have a little bit gambling in there, because in that case it's a high risk. That is really an extreme card, because moving to the third place basically means for that case more than halving the worth. So basically, if you have a lot of blue stock in that case, you might consider to sell it in that case, so you hopefully lose less. And we have a lot of different events for different stocks, for different positive and negative, influencing the worth, influencing the velocity of the stock. You sell it back to the market. We have had a really satisfying, we printed the chips, casino chips. They are really cool. If you like, you can touch them. They are really nice to play. So you can basically buy in the buy phase after we see what the event will be. Do we have the plan?
which plan?
The round plan.
Yeah, they are on the tablet.
Okay. Okay. So after we
So one round consists of seeing the event and what will probably happen. Then you can buy and sell stocks, but you are limited to 3 actions. So you can maybe buy 3 stocks or sell 2 and buy 1. So you're limited to 3 actions. After that, the dice is rolled if the event will happen or not. So it will happen now. So blue goes back to here. And then everyone gets their dividends. So in the first zone, you get 0 dividends for each stock. In the second zone, you get 1 dividend for each stock. So I don't have any red now, but maybe you have 3 reds. So you get 3 coins for your stock. So 1 coin for each stock. And then So I can't remember my own game. Sorry. Yeah. So and then we start all over again. Oh yeah, and I forgot that you can then you get one hand card each round, and you can play it at every time in the round. So whenever you think it's necessary to play one or not. And we play for 8 rounds. Is that everything? Yes. Oh, one thing. So the new values are done by the dices, and we did one special thing, that if we have multiple dices with the same numbers, then this means like a little crash for those stocks. So the stock with the highest one sinks for 3 values, the second one for 2, and the third one for 1.
So we test played a lot in the last 2 days, of course, and it's really working currently. And we play around round 8. We think that might be the end, but the game needs still some refinement, nerfs, buffs for certain tactics. Our goal is really that, like in the real market, maybe you can play more in the beginning, buy a lot of low worth stocks and hope that they multiply fast, or you go more for higher ones and play with the dividends, or how it's called in English, I'm not sure. So we really want that different strategies work, and that still needs some refinement, but it's already kind of working. And also we, hopefully when the website goes up again, Game Jam, Global Game Jam, we plan to put that all online, so with just a 3D printer, you can basically print that game and play it yourself. Yes. That's it. I would say 1 hour. I mean, we ended a lot in discussing when we played. So in the beginning, we never came over round 3, and then we ended endless discussion. I mean, maybe you know the game Exploding Kittens. There's the no card where you basically say no, it doesn't happen. And that card we discussed a lot, and that's really tiresome. The whole influences of the different cards and so on. But I think if you really play it, maybe half hour, half to 1. Okay, yes. And also but it's really interesting to balance that, because if you have too lot randomness in there and the game takes a long time, it's really tiresome for the one that had a bad start, because you can't catch up. So basically we have some cards that targets the higher stocks, and also the bad cards are mostly targeting the leading player naturally. So that's a little bit of rubber banding in there.